The system doesn't set us up for thriving. The system sets us up to be okay. You actually have to do more to deal with this primitive body in a technologically advanced society.
Those that you've coached and helped through this process, talk to me, what are the changes or what is the impact that they feel to themselves when they start understanding more about their epigenetics?
So one of the things, most people will go to food and exercise because that's what's ingrained in us, right? So one of the major things that most people say, I try to steer them away unless that's one of their priorities, because each body, each group of bodies has a certain priority to work through those lifestyle priorities that I was just talking about. So for some bodies, we would start at movement. Only for one group of people. There are 6 groups of people, and one group of people we would start with movement. Everybody else would start somewhere else to make sure, okay, how does that sit in your world? How does that apply to you? And when we're working, so if you have someone who shares a similar body type to myself and they're living in chaos, automatically their body is highly strung. Their central nervous system is tight. Their sympathetic nervous system is activated. Might be at a low level, but it's activated. So if we can get to a point where they feel calm and organized within their environment, it's like a big deep breath out and they can relax. So sorry, Steve, I forgot the question. It's so in flow.
No. The question was, what impact have you seen? What's the impact that people feel? Yep.
One of the things most people notice straight away is when they start to put these things into practice, their body starts to shed weight. When they start to put things into practice, they find they've got more energy. And for a lot of the women, it's about the mind fog lifts. So, there are quite a number of layers to the system, and what my clients see are the very superficial layers, but there's so much underneath that I'm working with in terms of hormone balance and in terms of environment and lifestyle and all of that sort of thing to massage so that they can start to just relax. So one lady I worked with in a matter of 4 months. Now, we did not focus on diet or exercise for her. What we focused on was her being able to nurture, her being able to feel that she had enough in terms of she's got roof over her head, she's got food on the table, she's got money coming in, there's no bill stress, stuff like that. We worked on that, and because we were working on that, she had some energy. So she started going out for a walk. She noticed a boot camp, and she went, I think I'd like to join that boot camp. So she did. And while she was doing that, she didn't feel like eating the way she had been previously. And before we knew it, she'd lost 10 kilos over a matter of 4 months. And we did not focus on food or movement for her. They were just natural progressions because she was feeling better in her body. So another gentleman I had, his outcome was he actually has metastatic melanoma. The outcome he was looking for was being able to hand off some businesses, some charities that he'd set up, so that he, at the beginning of this year, he could get to a point where he was looking after his grandchildren for his daughter. So he got time to spend with his grandchildren. At the time, he was undergoing treatment and he was having a lot of side effects from that treatment. So we worked with him doing simple things like movement of the morning, just simple stretching of the morning for his body was what he needed. Simple stretching, some myofascial release massage, getting the blood flowing, as well as using some supplements that were recommended to me, which are outside of my scope of practice. But we have a board that we take case studies to. So that was recommended. He went on these and hey presto, by the time he'd finished the coaching with me, he was in such a better place. And he had managed to achieve everything he wanted to achieve because for him, the primary was about purpose. What he needed was an ability to be able to focus on his purpose. And so what I did was support him in that, being able to focus on his purpose so that he could achieve and get that dopamine hit, which propelled him forward. So, I mean, they're just two cases that I've worked with, but a lot of, as you were saying earlier, a lot of it is in, wow, I've just pushed through. I've done what I thought I was supposed to do according to society. You know, grew up, I got married or I partnered up, I had children, bought a house, did this, did that. Now what? Is this all there is to life? And so I have a number of women who come to me because they kind of go, maybe they've identified that has been making them sick. So whether it's been breast cancer or some other issue, I think that's making me sick. How do I wind this back? How do I know what is good for me and what's not? And so, yeah, I help them work through that as well.
Mm. And we were talking earlier about industries and roles that we have and the pressure in life and the stress in life. And, you hear about it now. They say the biggest killer is stress because stress causes cancer. It causes, if you read up on stress, it causes heart disease, cancer, all these different things because of the environment that your body doesn't have that recovery, and there's all those elements of stress, the pressure on the brain, the stress and pressure on the organs and just, how you feel, if you don't recover, if you don't have that downtime. It's like if I jumped in my car today and just went, I'm just going to drive it. I'm not going to service it. I'm not going to fuel it. I'm not going to do all these things. How many Ks would I get? It'll be interesting to work out, right? And I think Hamish and Andy did a thing where they said, I think ages ago, it was like, how far can we drive once the light goes on, right? Like the fuel light, right? And they just drove it and they wanted to work out how many kilometers they could get out of the car, right? And they did this exercise, right? But I love a good analogy, but I think of that and I go, it's a bit like what some of us do. We kind of go, I'm not feeling quite right. The lights kind of come on, right? But I'm just going to keep going. Why not? I like to live dangerously, right? And we just keep pushing, thinking we'll be okay. We'll be right. Like we're indestructible. We're invincible.
Yes.
And then eventually it conks out. And it's like, well, actually, right back when the light went on, we could have actually pulled into a service station, refueled, checked our oil levels, done all these things, and then we, along the trip, have to get services, check our tires, check all these things so that we've got a better machine that lasts longer.
Yeah.
But people don't see that and people don't realize that and they don't accept that our bodies are actually even more crucial, but even, I suppose, deeper when it comes to like the human body is a miraculous machine. It's
Absolutely.
like, it's the more you learn,